successful 30-year titan in business with having multiple businesses that generate multiplied millions of dollars.
And if that plan happens to be to build $1 million company, which I can help you do.
But he's humble. He's a man of God. He's a family man.
The world's news organizations are built on everything but positivity.
He is an influential entrepreneur and business figure for over 30 years.
I've got to forecast. I've got to pronounce. I've got to project. I've got to share with you my ideas, my vision, my goals for not only myself, but for you.
That's why he's came up with his incredible concept of taking and creating a platform for people that are wired differently.
And you got to understand that your habits of your person and your habits of your business and your habits of your spirituality have to lead to the North Star of who you are. We need to figure out who we want to be in life.
Your habits have to lead to the North Star of who you are, your identity. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning, and I'm back. I'm back in black. I've got the green screen going. I've got a new camera called the Pivo, and it follows me wherever I go. If you check me out, I'm going to start sending out more stuff with the Pivo because it's allowing me to actually be interactive and do certain things. Today is the topic today is spelunking. How many of you understand what the word spelunking is? What have you ever even heard the word spelunking? Somehow I'm going to make a message out of the word spelunking. And when I think about today and I think about where it all started, I think about when I was a kid. Not like a kid, but like I was in my late 20s. I mean, any of you in your late 20s or any of you kids like that right now? My wife and I, we got married at the age of 23. We had our first child at the age of 25. And I think sometime around 27 or 28, we were taking two of our children through the caves in Kentucky called the Mammoth Cave. We always drove down there. So every so often, a lot of us lived up in Indiana, up north, and we would drive all the way down I-69 and 75, and we go to Florida to vacation, and we'd end up on what we would call the west side of Florida, the crystal clear sand side. A lot of us know that are watching this. Some of us would come to Florida from up north and go on to the darker sand side, which was Daytona Beach. And actually, my first trip to Florida alone was on the Daytona Beach side. And it was a good trip to Florida. But the bottom line is when my wife and I decided we were adults and we had babies and children, we wanted to travel, we definitely took the truck and we drove all the way down and we went through Kentucky. And we remember thinking as even kids before we knew each other, before we were married, we remember thinking, man, one day I'm going to pull over to Mammoth Cave and I'm going to see a cave. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to do it as an adult. And sure enough, we were kind of adults. We were 25, 26 years old, and we had babies, and we went our version of spelunking. Well, spelunking is this idea of rappelling down holes into a cave or moving around crevices, more of a risky operation than what we were doing when we were meandering through Mammoth Cave. I mean, Mammoth Cave was like eye-opening to me. And I remember the first time going through it, it's like, man, this is like a whole world underground. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing in Mammoth Cave. How many of you have ever been to a cave? Have you ever like been in total darkness? Ever been in like a place where many people had visited before they had the contraptions we had? I mean, my first cave experience was before cell phones, if that kind of tells you anything. But the idea was there was people in these caves before cell phones, before no cell phones, before flashlights, right? And so my wife and I became quasi-spelunkers. We've never rappelled, but we just kind of, I like the word spelunker, so I say it. Well, any chance we get, we go into a cave. We just love, my wife and I love caves. We walk through it. We're a little bit claustrophobic, but we still like to walk through the caves and feel the cool weather down underneath the ground. And most of them have moisture or humidity of some sort that's different in the cold air. And there's always this smell of, beautiful rock and earth and just the rawness. I mean, you can't get any more real I think, unless you're a couple hundred feet underground in a cave. And so we loved the caves. And so I remember the first story, the first cave, and I remember walking through the cave, and there was this one spot that they said, you got to be careful because if you're too big, you can't fit through this crevice. And I thought, oh man, that's pretty spooky. But when you went through these caves, you always have a tour guide, and the tour guide was always, I've never had a tour guide in a cave that wasn't animated and told a great story. The art of life, I might do a sidestep right here. The art of life is great storytelling. The craft of our beginnings was built around storytelling. And so I just love, maybe that's why I love the cave so much, because they're telling a story. They're telling a story of what had happened, and what could be, and what we have, and how time is frozen in a cave. But I guess what I'm trying to get to you this morning is a thing I heard from the first cave I went to was, this cave was found by accident. All right, I get it. As far as they can tell, you got Indian scribes going on the walls there in Mammoth Cave, and a little crack you had to meander through, found by accident. Well, lo and behold, every time you go down from Indiana down to Florida, you go all the way down south, you would see all these kind of cave signs. And so we'd always say, okay, we saw Mammoth Cave, and we saw another cave in Kentucky, and we did this. And then finally we always saw this sign that said, see Ruby Falls. And it wasn't until we got a little older that we finally pulled over and said, we're going to finally see Ruby Falls. So we went spelunking, not really spelunking, but it's our term today. You are a spelunker with me. I am your spelunker guide. I am your storytelling guide. And I went through this cave, and we went down this hole all the way down. I wish I had pictures of it. That was just the most mesmerizing thing I think I've probably ever seen. The waterfall below the ground was just shimmering, and they had lights on it, and they told the story about how the man found the cave, and how as young people in the 50s and the 40s and the 1800s, out of the years are just a blur to me, but they would slither through cracks of like 18 inches with a candle exploring this cave. And if the candle burned out, they'd do another candle. Hours and hours they'd be beneath the ground, going places they had no idea where they were going, with candles, maybe two. And I remember the story, the setup for the story. This cave was found by accident. I was in Bermuda with my wife. We were celebrating something. I don't know. I'd won a sales contest, and I remember the guy, and I wish I could say his name right now because I'd give him props. I think he's probably watching. He's just an amazing man. And we went to the Bermuda, and we had these drinks called the Twizzlers. I digress. They were very good, right? But there was a cave there, so we went to the cave, and we went down to the cave, and it was no different. There was a stalagmite. It might get to the top of the roof, and there's a stalactite that hangs tight to the roof. And if they converge to the middle, they become stalagmites, stalactites, and there's a word for that I can't come up with right now, but I think they connect. And another interesting thing about cave dwelling is spelunking facts is that 1 cubic inch of a stalactite or stalagmite, which is formed by the calcium of slowly dripping water from the cave surface, forms every 100 years. And you think about that for a moment, and I remember touring through the caves and walking through there, and there my wife was, and we're like, oh, we're spelunking again. We're not really spelunking, but it's my term, right? I digress. And the tour guide says, lo and behold, we're 300 feet below earth, and here's this, and the guy's name was such and such, and he found a cave by accident. It goes on and on and on. Every cave I've ever spelunked in, every cave I've never done a cave alone. I've always been with my wife, Traci. We're cave dwellers. I've got a whole message on cave people. But we were spelunkers. I actually got some pictures of what we went through on this particular event. We went to Silver Dollar City to see my good friend, Nick Walenda. And this is kind of some fun stuff I thought I would take you through. So we got to the airport, and I thought to myself, which coffee am I going to choose? I remember thinking Costa Rica coffee, house blend, or full-on vengeance. Well, you know which one I took there because the coffee cup marks the coffee that I choose for this endeavor. But when I jumped on the plane, it was pretty clear that it was a good morning and Delta was going to get me there safely. So I had a good time with that. Good morning, Delta. And before I had my coffee, I had one of these. Oh, no. Yes, my Christian friends, every now and then it happens. I love the Bloody Mary every so often. It's not so much. But anyways, we get there. And as we get to Silver Dollar, we did some tour things, and I thought it was kind of fun because we walked around the tour. We did something. I did a few posts, and I kind of wanted people to see that we were having fun, and we can have fun. You should have fun. So at Silver Dollar City, my wife, she's a blast. There's nothing she won't try, and she picked up this gun, and well, anyways, she shot everything in that arena. She actually shot better than me. And it is what it is. She walks faster than me. She beats me in about every contest that we do. So, Traci, good shooting there, Annie Oakley. We had a good time doing that. Then we went out to dinner. We had a good time at dinner. We made some friends across the way, and we're still on our diet, and we're doing very well with that. And we just had a great, great time. I just thought it would be fun for you all to see that. Then we went through Silver Dollar. Before we went spelunking, we went through all the we went through the amusement park. And so the interesting about this amusement park, it was an amusement park called Silver Dollar, and it was founded around, watch this, was founded around the cave. The cave of this Silver Dollar City in Branson was titled Marble Cave, marble like the stone marble. But the guys who founded it went down there and found the cave originally and opened up a company for 2 or 3 years and said, oh, we have marble down here. So they opened the company, spent all their money getting ready to mine for marble. But when they realized 3 or 4 years later, when they had a geologist go down there, they realized that it wasn't actually marble. It was limestone that they were looking at. And so in 1951, something like that, Hugo, what was his last name? Hershend bought a lease for 100 years on this property and decided to reopen the cave as an amusement to go down and spelunk and do cave tours. But this is the byproduct is now there's a big city up there called Silver Dollar City built around the cave. It's pretty interesting. And this is Traci actually trying to stand straight, but she can't stand straight. Kind of funny. Let's see what else do we have here that I wanted to show you. So anyways, then we finally make our way to the cave, right? And this is the first sign that we see. There's Traci shooting again, but here is Spelunkers Outpost. Now I used the word Spelunkers before it was popular, at least on my show, but this was Spelunkers Outpost. And you can see here where they changed the name from Marble Cave in 1868 or something like that to Marvel Cave when they realized the marble really wasn't marble, it was limestone. So now it was Marvel. Well, the interesting thing about the idea of it not being marble was that the new guy who founded the cave just before Hershend took over in 1951 realized that since there wasn't marble down there, there was no only limestone. And when they were down there looking at the limestone, they found a lot of bat poop called guano. And they realized that if they can't mine the marble, they're going to mine the guano. And so for $700 a ton or something like that for 3 or 4 years, they mined all the bat poop out of that mine. And to this day, they still transport bat poop out of the mine. And this mine would brag about the fact that they have gray bats and that the gray bats are very not tame, but they don't have diseases. But anyways, this is what you see before you go down in the cave. This is me walking down the cave behind my wife because she's the braver of the two of us. But this is a shot of her actually getting deeper down into the cave, and I took a snapshot, and she says, why do you always take pictures of me? So I don't want to stand very long. So then I decided to take a picture of her while she wasn't looking, because then I don't have to hear her say, why are you always taking pictures? She's the best, and odds are she won't watch the show, so have at it, Todd, right? But listen, when we got to the cave is about 500 feet underground. This cave by accident was found by accident, right? Remember, this cave was found by accident. We get to the bottom of the cave, and I'm the last one going down the cave, and the host says, are you going to be the caboose? I said, I'll be the caboose. And she says, okay, make sure you bring up the rear. And as I said, I'll bring up the rear. I said, everybody freeze. let's take a picture. And they looked up at me on the tour, and that is our family tour of cave people right there. This is what we saw from the bottom of the cave as we looked up. That is the opening that was found by accident. Isn't it interesting that every cave I ever went on was found by accident? Isn't it interesting that every spelunker has found something by accident? Isn't it interesting that how life works? This is the hole that somebody fell through several hundred, even as early as 1500s, they found remnants of Spanish Inquisition people or Spaniards exploring and looking for things in this hole. This hole went 500 feet. And one of the interesting things about this hole, I hope I have this picture in here, is the waterfall coming down and the lights. It's just amazing, amazing. And here's another stalactites hanging to the ceiling. This here is a shot of the hole from the bottom and from a different angle. This here is just a gorge. It's just phenomenal, right? Let's see, what do we got here? This is actually a balloon. This is to show you how deep this hole is. This cave was found by accident, right? This cave was so big that in 1965, they flew 5 helium air balloons inside this cave. Here's another helium air balloon. And so the video, the image I really wanted to show you was the fact that when they first started this cave back in the day, you'd have to climb down that big gorge hole. You'd have to climb down that hole, and you would climb down the hole in a ladder that was 100 feet tall. So literally you would be paying shillings or dollars or pennies or whatever in today's money, right, to crawl down a hole on a ladder that was 100 feet tall. And then once you landed at the bottom of the hole, there was just piles of dirt that had fallen, seeped through the top of the hole that someone found by accident, finally, to fall all the way down to the bottom. And at the bottom, just bones of people probably being thrown down there and died or whatever happening over the years. Woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and all kinds of things are just laying at the bottom of this pit. And once you got down there in the ladder, you would get down there and you would have a host. It was a 14-year-old kid that would wait for you and hand you candles, and you'd light the candles. And then you'd like do your own guided tour for 6 hours at the bottom of this canyon with candles that they provided for you for probably $5. And then when you were done, there was a 16-year-old kid who would help you get back up the hill, but you couldn't go back up the hill by yourself very easily because you had to go up about 200 feet. Right. And there wasn't a way to get back, because that was just to get back to the ladder to crawl back to the top of the cave that was found by accident. Right. And so they provided you with a pickaxe. And you had to pickaxe yourself all the way back up to the hill to get to the bottom of the ladder so you could crawl to the top of the ladder to the top of a 100-foot ladder to the top of the hole to get back out. This is what you were paying money for back in the day. This cave was found by accident. And so I wanted to actually talk to you about this complete idea. I wanted to bring it back home. I wanted to bring it back to you and just kind of revel and marvel in the idea of the Marvel Cave. I just spent almost 20 minutes talking about finding caves by accidents. I've just spent almost 20 minutes talking about what a good time I had spelunking. I spent almost 20 minutes just trying to get across to you the mere fact that this cave was found by accident. It was no accident that I found the cave. It was no accident that the cave was there, right? It was no accident that people got lost in the cave. I mean, I just think this whole world, this whole concept of caves and being and people searching and looking through life, I just don't know how many accidents really happen. Matter of fact, I'd like to propose today that very few, if any, accidents really do happen. I don't think that it's an accident that the cave was found. I don't think that it was an accident that I showed up there with my wife of almost 40 years. I don't think it's an accident that we went down the stairs and were mesmerized by God's amazing creation of this earth and people in the earth that are supposedly finding things by accident. I don't buy the whole accident thing. I think we make our lives. I think that we put ourselves in position to find success. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about what are you doing by accident or what are you doing by opportunity? Because even if the cave was found by accident, some opportunity was arrived from the cave. Some opportunity was this dwelling component of let's go in and find what we can see. Let's go just a little deeper into the cave. Let's go around the corner. When I think about Ruby Falls and the man that found Ruby, his name's escaping me right now, but I remember hearing the story. He found it by accident, but when he went into it, he took a box of candles and I remember hearing the story. He literally crawled on his back for almost an hour in a crevice that was 18 inches, I don't know, something like that, to get to a certain place to another side that he had no idea that he had candles basically in his hands and in his mouth and crawling and scurrying his way through. I mean, these are things that just mesmerize me. But it was no accident that he crawled through the crack. It was no accident that he found something on the other side. You know, and you wonder, like, Tom, where are you going with all this? Well, you know where I'm going with this. What we need to understand that our lives are made, right? Our lives are comprised of cave after cave after cave after cave. Our lives are comprised with surprise after surprise after surprise. Our lives are comprised of opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Our lives are comprised of all kinds of unknowns that we build on and grow to and make and mold in our lives. Just go with me for a moment here and just surmise that there's no accidents, only opportunities. I'm on the Facebook a lot, and I watch a lot of things, and I watch some really, really seemingly successful people on Facebook. And it never ceases to amaze me how small I feel after watching a lot of these people on Facebook. It never ceases to amaze me how unaccomplished I feel after watching people on Facebook. And I don't want this show, I don't want this idea of a show, I don't want my brand wired differently to ever, make you feel that way, because it's the opposite of really what's going on in my life for you is that I am not a surprise for you. I am not here by accident. You have selected to watch me. You have selected to like me and follow me. You have selected to listen to me. I'm not asking you to aspire to be me. I'm asking you to think a little bit differently. I'm asking you to spelunk a little bit differently. I'm asking you just to look at your life just a little differently. I'm asking you this morning to ask yourself, is it by accident or is it an opportunity? Did you just find the cave by accident? Or was it there by opportunity because you explored, you took a step in a direction that you weren't sure you were going to go? Were you just following your instincts? Were you just allowing something to happen in your life that didn't normally happen? I want you to understand that to be wired differently is to spelunk. The be wired differently is to go into a cave and look around the corner. I don't care if it's a tour guide. I don't care. It's this idea that really things don't happen by accident, that we're wired differently for a reason. God has created us for a reason. Is it an accident or is it an opportunity? I want to take all these cave tours all over again, and I want to say, it was not an accident that Mr. Such and Such fell down a hole looking for a bear and the cave just happened. And I'm here 300 years later with a candle looking around and saying, oh my God, this is a cave. A deep cave too. I'm telling you, it's the deepest cave I've ever been in. It's so deep, there's a damn waterfall flowing from it. Oh, waterfall. Yeah, oh, waterfall. Well, how'd the waterfall get there? I don't know, but it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a damn accident. God did it. God did it. God did it. Remember when I did that little talk about God did it? I mean, I just want you to just for a moment think about this whole wire differently message, this whole wire differently movement, this whole wire differently mindset, this whole wire differently mission, right? I know a lot of you are watching. I can see the comments. I mean, they're rolling up here, man. It's just amazing. But I just want you to know, I'm going to be coaching 3 people today. 3 people. I'm going to spend an hour with 3 people today. And I promise you, I know you're listening to me right now. I'm going to be talking to you about what's the accident and what's the opportunity. The damn cave was put there for a reason. It was created geologically for a reason. The seismic creation, the earth, the platonic tank, the platonic, whatever those things are called, the seismics moving and earth gyrating and calcium dropping at a rate of 1 cubic inch per 100 years for a stalactite or a stalagmite. Just think about the creation and the mindset and the idea and the vast scope of this idea that the cave was found by accident. The cave was never found by accident. It was no accident it was created. It was no accident that it was found, and it's no accident I'm talking to you right now about a cave. Because you're spelunkers, you're wired differently, and you've got to find your own cave. You've got to explore your own mindset. You've got to explore your own business set. You've got to explore your family. You've got to explore relationships. You've got to get the candle out, and you've got to crawl through some darkness every now and then in life to see what's on the other side. Life sucks without it. It's just you can't. You can't. I mean, you think being in a cave you would be confined, but by going in the cave, you're actually exploding. You're releasing. You're showing yourself that there is something out there to look for you. There is something to search for, this idea of what's around the corner. And you know what? Let's give some credit to the people crawling through caves with lanterns and candles. I don't know how I get so excited, but you're my Wired Differently spelunkers, man. I'm begging you today. This cave was found by accident. No more. The cave in your life is out there, and it's going to be found if it's not already found, and it's not going to be by accident. It's because you're looking, you're searching, you're meandering, you're wandering, you're asking questions. You get a coach. Everybody's better with a coach. These are the things in life that we're put here for. I don't want you holed up in a room playing Nintendo the rest of your life. I don't want you holed up in the virtual world of Meta. I don't want you in those places. I want you exploring caves. I want you looking into your eyesight and your goggles and saying, what do I see today that's different that I saw yesterday? There's a cave. And that cave, some people have been in it, but I want to go see where people have been. I want to see what's on the other side. I want my little candles out, and I want to open up, and I want to light the candle, and I want to walk through the cave. And I want to feel my heart pick up the rate just a little bit. And I want to walk around that corner. I want to see what I didn't know I could see. And then at some opportunity in this cave experience, I want to literally put out the candle. And I want to stand in complete darkness. I want to see what I can't see. I want to be blinded by no light. I want to only feel the Spirit of God around me. And then I want to realize that I can turn the light back on. And then I see the cave and the things in my life so differently. But you don't have that experience unless you turn this accident into an opportunity. What in your life right now is an accident? What in life right now are you talking about that's an accident that can be turned into an opportunity? What are you doing in your life right now? It's not an accident. It's an opportunity. What are you doing in your life right now? What are you thinking about right now? What is your next move right now? What are you going to do when you hang up the phone right now with me, when you get off the Facebook, or you get off the Insta, or you get off the YouTube, or you get off the Twitter fitter, whatever you do, when you get off of it, what is the cave in your life? What is that accident that's about to happen to you? What are you going to look at differently? What are you going to do to explore the corner? What is your spelunker moment? Where are you going to be when somebody says, this opportunity was found by accident, and you say, whoa, I'm making my own opportunities. I may have stumbled upon this, but I was looking for something. I was looking for something. Therefore, by definition, this can't be an accident. This cave was placed there for me to fall into, to accident into, to spelunk into, this opportunity of a cave in your life. It's this opportunity right now. Some of you are sitting here right now, and I know I can see some faces in my head right now that are like, okay, what's my next opportunity? What's my next cave? What am I going to spelunk? What is somebody going to call an accident? It's not an accident. It's something you're going to find today, something that you're looking for. You don't even have to be looking for it by definition. You just have to be looking for something, an opportunity, not an accident. That's what I ask for you today. This cave was found by accident. It's not an accident. It's an opportunity. I just want you to know that you have goals, you have dreams, you have ideas, and I want to be your inspiration. I want to be your coach. I want to be your friend. I want to be someone that you can mentor you. I want you to understand that I've spelunked so many caves. Metaphorical caves they may be, but they are caves. 6 caves in all. I've never lost my life once in any of them. Get out there and find a cave, my friends. Spelunk today. It's not an accident if you're taking opportunities to find something in your life. Don't wait for it. Go get it. I love you. Get to toddsaylor.com. Your will be done. The book's on pre-sale. I love you. I love you. I love you.